Hi everyone, welcome to the space. As always, we're gonna wait for a moment until couple guests gets on stage. We'll wait another 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll start at 11 a.m. sharp. In the meantime, we're gonna pin the tweet on the above. Please make sure to retweet the pin tweet, and then give us a follow, give us a like, share this space. That'll be very much appreciated. Thanks. Welcome and thanks for tuning in to another Panony Presents. My name is Frank and your host for today's Twitter space. We are here to discuss Web3 topics with crypto projects, OGs, leaders, KOLs, VC, and more on their perspectives and insights of the industry and market. A quick introduction on Panony to our audiences today. We're a blockchain consulting agency established in early 2018 that provides consulting services for hundreds of crypto projects. Our Right RMPA News is one of the highest quality Asian media in the industry, focusing on content creation on real-time news. Just a quick reminder for audiences in the space now, make sure to retweet the pin tweet, give us a follow, give us a like. Share the space. Thank you. Before we dig into today's topic, our discussion is not in any form of investment advice. Everything you hear today is for informative and entertainment purposes only. I hope everyone will enjoy today's panel. Without further ado, let's get right into it. In recent years, artificial intelligence, AI, has become a popular buzzword for businesses and industry as they look to integrate technology into their operations. According to a recent report by McKinsey, AI is predicted to be creating between 3.5 and 5.8 trillion in economic value annually across 9 businesses functions in 19 industries by 2025. PwC also estimates that by 2030, AI will contribute a staggering 15.7 trillion to the global economy, resulting a 14% increase in global GDP. The ongoing development of databases and identified management along with AI is further consolidating intelligence as the basis of modern software applications. Today, we are aiming to explore both the benefits and challenges of AI in Web3 and how we can make sure the use of AI is responsible and beneficial. Here, we are inviting representative projects and leaders to share their insights and perspectives to our audiences on the development of AI and its potential collaboration with Web3. It's time to welcome our guest speakers today. I would love to invite our guests to say hi to our Panony and PA News audiences. It would be great to kick off with a brief introduction of yourself and what you're currently working on. And for other speakers, you can just jump on directly after the previous one is done. What about let's begin with Herbert from Definity Foundation. Could you please briefly introduce yourself?
Hey, sure. Hey, thank you, Frank, and thank you, Panony Group, for the invite. And hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Herbert. I'm the general manager of Asia from Definity Foundation, and Definity is a main developer behind the Layer 1 blockchain internet computer protocol. So very happy to share our ideas and our observations when it comes to AI. So our team, our mandate is to grow the Asia developer ecosystem. So we work with a lot of community leaders, investors, and also the developers and entrepreneurs in the ICP ecosystem, and try to incubate the next generation of unicorns. So happy to chat more in the next 90 minutes.
Thank you, Herbert, for the intro. Could we have Vicky from PAL next?
Hi everyone, I'm Vicky. I'm the manager of Panony. I'm currently based in Taiwan, and it's an honor to be invited. I believe some of the audience might have heard about Panony, but I would still like to point out the difference between Panony and other crypto exchanges. Panony care about our user experience and never stop bringing new trading tools, while other exchanges are focusing on listing a lot of different cryptocurrencies, trying to attract more users and trading volume. Panony still concentrated on developing our trading tools like trading bots. I believe Panony is not only the first crypto exchange that have great bots, but we also have the best AI trading bot among all the exchanges. We currently have more than 18 free trading bots now, and of course, as I mentioned, we are putting our resource in developing AI bots as well, like the DCA bot, rebalancing bot, and long-term win bot, which you can find it on our app or website. We have established a standard in the industry, and I highly recommend it. Or Poundx GPT. Traders can easily ask the bot to create strategy like give you a grid, DCA strategy or adopt 1, 2, 3 rule to buy, and back test it on TradingView and use the signal bot to trade the strategy automatically on Ponyx. And we're also looking for some potential partners now. If there's any influencers are interested, please feel free to contact me and we can have a chat after this call. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicky. Maybe we can have Gabriel from Sal Adventures to briefly introduce yourself. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Gabriel. I'm the growth lead at Salad Ventures. And yeah, Salad Ventures is headquartered in Singapore. We are an X to Earn ecosystem project that incentivizes our community as well as our partners' community to take certain actions and help Web3 projects grow, right? So primarily we have three main products that focuses on three verticals, which is work, learn, and play. We have arcaden.com, which is an online arcade where people can play to earn. We have Apollo Academy, where people can learn to earn, as well as Maslow, which is our decentralized labor exchange, which we are currently building and plan to launch sometime next year. To date, I think Salad has over 100 different partners in our ecosystem, and we have also issued like over 3 million NFTs as rewards. Currently, our team is working towards our token launch, which will be sometime this month.
Thanks, Gabriel. Can we have Philip from Say Network?
Yeah, awesome. Super excited to be here, everyone. My name is Philip. I'm a marketing and growth lead for Say Labs. For those who don't know, Say is an open source, general purpose layer one blockchain for trading. We've optimized every layer of the stack to offer the best possible infrastructure for exchanges. And Say is really built around the core thesis that exchanges are the most important and fundamental use case for crypto, both off and on chain. So we essentially focus on providing, the best possible infrastructures for builders, building trading applications across DeFi, NFTs, and gaming. And super excited to be talking about AI and the intersection between AI and blockchain. As Say is actually currently hosting a pitch competition and a hackathon that's focused specifically on this. So super pumped to be hopping on this Twitter space and discussing the topic.
Thanks, Philip. And lastly, Yuhu from Kaito AI.
Hey everyone, it's Yuku here from Kaito AI. I'm the founder of Kaito AI, and Kaito is building an AI-powered search engine. So we've been in this space building for the last 15 months. We are, you can think of us as a vertical search engine that essentially index all the information across Twitter, Discord, Medium, Mirror, Telegram, Twitter Space, news, research, as well as on-chain data. We're leveraging large language model to, aim to try to give all our users a complete different and new way to efficiently query all the information across the space. We just launched a retail-focused search engine end of June. If you haven't signed up, feel free to join the waitlist right now. And I'm very happy to share our perspective in the intersection of AI and crypto today.
Thank you for all the introductions. We're very happy to have the opportunity to bring these amazing guests here to our Twitter space. Today we'll be discussing the AI and Web3 sector as a whole. What the current stage is and how it is benefiting, but also at the same time potentially affecting the world. So the first question I want to bring up today is more like a general type of question to begin our conversation, as AI affects us as a whole, not just particularly the Web3 industry. So we all know that AI can improve efficiency and productivity in our life. And as technology continues to develop, it could create opportunities in different fields, related to data science and AI development. As AI becomes more advanced and things become more automated, could this result in a significant negative impact for the world today? Or maybe I can say like a more general like workforce. For example, like ChatGPT is a very hot product in our first half of 2023, and it creates a lot of benefits for us. But could it also be affecting us? maybe we can start to hear some insights or perspectives, starting from Herbert.
Hey, thank you, Frank. I'll start off. I think the AI, obviously, I should say that AI or ChatGPT has been hard. It's going to be a massive understatement. It is hard. I used to come from Amazon Web Services, working with a lot of founders and entrepreneurs, and for as long as I can tell, basically everyone from Google to Microsoft to Amazon, everyone is jumping into this bandwagon, trying to capture this hard new thing. Even though the industry has been working, it seems that we are fast approaching a tipping point. This AIGC is capturing not only the imagination of the data scientists and program and developers, but also the general public. So that's something that's quite rare in the industry. And when I say industry, I'm talking about the internet or technology industry in general, not just Web3. So it is fascinating, but I think there's, to Frank's question, is this going to create a negative, the question is negative impact? No, I think it's definitely positive. Positive in a couple of ways. One is, it is, for once, it is, I think it brings AI to the general mass, to the general public. With things that the internet web users can relate to. I think in the past, AI has been just sort of a voodoo, witchcraft that could only be understood by some of the PhDs from Stanford or CMUs and etc. But now but it is good. It is good. Now we're at a point where everyone is talking about it. Everyone and a lot of people, they may not be technology savvy developers, but they are able to use the products from AIGC, whether they are content creators or illustrators or UI designers, etc. So that is a really exciting moment I think just for the general industry as a whole. It's good for all of us. So that's number one, because it's good. It's very inspiring for the entrepreneurs to capture this wave. That is, I've been around in I came from the Web 1 era, so seeing a lot of small companies from the early days growing into unicorns. Some of them sustained, a lot of them did, a lot of them just fizzled, because all these technology waves, they come and go. It's very difficult for the early stage entrepreneurs to see which trend is going to persist in the future. But it seems that all signals are pointing that this AIGC is going to be a force to be reckoned with and will change our lives in the coming decades. So that is great for a new generation of entrepreneurs. I think that's number one. And number two is it is a great productivity enhancer. It's depending on what you do, and I don't think there is fundamentally change how the 10x engineers are going to do their work. But for a lot of other sort of semi-technology workers, I think there's a lot of room to elevate the productivity because of the advancement of AIGC. So it's great news, and I think it's I think that for the Web3 industry is we are at a crossroad, because a lot of all eyes on AIGC, and in some way it almost stole the thunder from Web3, and we are seeing a different changing of directional flow in terms of capital, in terms of talents into this space that was at one point almost dormant. So it's a bit of it's an interesting question in now, as how do we make the most out of that? How do we leverage that? But all in all, a new generation of entrepreneurs. Finally, I think we can see a path where this might land some really useful use cases that can be used by the mass web users. So I'll just that's it for now. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Herbert. That's very much of insight from your perspective. Could you also hear some perspectives from Yuhu from Kaito?
Yeah, it's obviously a very interesting topic and something we've been reflecting a lot as well. I by and large agree with what Herbert said on the positive side of things. I think it's super exciting, especially for someone who has been developing the space, right? So most of our team came out of most of the AI team of Kaito came out of Meta, and historically, you know, heavily involved in some of the foundational ML models as well as Llama. So we've definitely been seeing a very different trend this time in terms of how the technology curve is really growing exponentially. But I think on the flip side, it is kind of dangerous in terms of not just internally some of the things that we are seeing, but also externally from a lot of the opinions and perspectives. I share one thing with the audience. So, for example, Jeffrey Hinton, which is known as the godfather of artificial intelligence. In May, he shared this in a MIT conference as well. And quote unquote, he was saying that humanity is maybe just a passing phase in the evolution of intelligence. So right now, AI, so even for large language model generated AI, the IQ level is only 90, but we're already seeing such powerful performance from a large language model. It's only a matter of time in terms of AI's intelligence going to be surpassing human, and also at the same time, um, you know, we start to see the real AGI, right? So the general intelligence, and ultimately that's going to be a very dangerous thing if it's used in a different way. So I do think there's a ton of opportunities, but at the same time, it is very dangerous when we think about the go forward as well. And that's why I think naturally, Web3 and decentralized network has a role to play in this intersection. So it is something that we are reflecting a lot as well.
Thanks, Yuhu. Yeah, for as you just mentioned on the decentralization and on how AI will work. We'll hop onto this topic later. But yeah, can we also get some opinions from Gabriel from Salad?
Hey Frank, yeah, for sure. I think I definitely agree with what both of the other speakers have shared. I think for AI in general, the way that I look at it personally, it's just another advancement in technology. It's another tool that is now very available to the mass public, right? And I think every time technology advances and there's some form of a paradigm shift, people have to adapt, right? So whether it's AI or 200 years ago when factories came into place and machines were displacing people, I think for sure at the very beginning, or when the new technology is actually introduced, there's definitely going to be a negative impact, right? Like to all industries in general, which are able to make use of the technology. And I think the way to kind of like reduce the negative impact over time is just primarily education, right? So people would essentially educate themselves to how to use this new technology to improve their own skill sets, their own efficiency, and be able to stay relevant. But I think in terms of like the positives, it definitely outweighs the negatives, right? Because efficiency, I think AI at this current point, even though it is pretty advanced compared to many years ago, even when OpenAI was just started and nobody knew who they were, there's been huge advancements. But at the same time, I don't think it can entirely displace people from any industry in general, right? Somebody still has to operate it. Even learning how to use prompts properly in order to make the best out of the tool to get the best output. There's definitely new opportunities while old ones have been displaced. So I think that's mainly my take on it. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabriel. Perhaps we can also hear some perspectives, insights from Phil or from Vicky.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for sharing from the previous speakers. I totally agree on your perspective. But I think AI technologies, of course, can significantly improve efficiency and productivity as the automation increase. People might be worried about some certain roles may be replaced by AI or need to be reskilling, but I think the most salient threat right now is from authentication and deepfakes. For instance, the use of generative AI to create fake passport and then fake photos or artificial individuals who then enable fraud and do some money laundering. Everything is just too new for people. But the lack of knowledge might also lowering the awareness of this. So I think it has some like pros and yeah, still have some cons. So that is from that is my opinion. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Vicky, and maybe we can have Phil to help us sum up with this very first question.
Yeah, definitely. I think the way that I like look at AI and kind of like the intersection of AI and blockchain technology and kind of the rest of the Say Labs team is kind of looking to empower and educate. I think a lot of good points have been brought up by the past speakers and kind of the importance of understanding the technology and also with that, really thinking about like the potential that it can have with like disrupting the way that certain processes are handled and being able to accomplish new things while leveraging the technology and also understanding the risks. So I think that's like one thing that we can do as builders within the space is kind of lean into empowering a lot of people that are interested in learning more and kind of giving them those tools and resources to be able to take full advantage of all of the kind of AI capabilities that are now available while also understanding some of these risks. And that's like pretty much exactly what we're doing at Say Labs, like partnering with One Piece Labs, thinking, putting together like an accelerator for people that are interested in starting to build products and services within the AI space and the blockchain space. So overall, super excited about it. There is a huge importance on really having proper education and familiarity with the tech. But with that being said, there's just so much potential. So really excited to like continue to see it disrupt the technology space overall.
Gotcha, guys. It seems like we have some positive and maybe a couple of negative feedbacks, but the good definitely outweighs the bad. And we all agree that this will be a life-changing tech, and creates tons of opportunities and excitement moving forward. So AI offers many like potential benefits, such as like improved efficiencies, cost savings, and new job opportunities. However, as with this new technology, there are also like challenges and concerns to consider, uh, mentioned by our speakers earlier, particularly in terms of impact in our industry. So, next question I want to talk about is decentralization is the fundamental of Web3. However, centralization has been the norm of AI-based solutions. But as we delve into the decentralized world of Web3 and were to integrate with this field, what kind of improvements could we potentially see? Maybe we can continue with Philip from Say.
Yeah, really interesting question. I think, primarily it's just like leveraging some of the things that AI has to offer to like incorporate them into current like decentralized systems that we have. So like not necessarily the kind of like uprooting a lot of like the fundamental things that make our space, special in terms of being trustless, transparent and decentralized, but thinking about how we can leverage AI to like further empower the builders, the users within the space, while still keeping the core root and like, the nature of the space, intact.
Maybe we can get some perspective from Herbert from Definity.
Hey, sure. Hey, thanks, Frank. The question is a very interesting question about centralization. Um, So I think that our industry came into being about 13 or 14 years ago. One of the primary goal was to achieve decentralization. Or another way to look at it is to is to have that ultimate data sovereignty. And now calling that as one of the key attributes for Web3. So the centralization feature of the current AI solution, I think to me is a major danger out there for the industry, because it's very difficult to trace where the data comes from, how the data is collected, and obviously none of us can claim total data ownership for our own data. So I will share one personal experience. So my grandfather, so he was a very famous, one of the top musicians, or there's a Chinese version of a violin players in China. So he has made a major contribution to that space when he was alive. So I ChatGPT him. Oh, now I'm using ChatGPT as a verb now. So I ChatGPT him a couple of weeks ago just to get a sense if ChatGPT can give me the accurate biography of my grandfather, and voila, it did. It was pretty nice summary. What he did. That was before the creation of PRC. The sort of the new music, the theory he created that contributed to that space and all that. Except that ChatGPT got the wrong date for his date of birth, and also when he passed away. That was just entirely wrong. So it was it was interesting and also a little bit dangerous at the same time, because if I'm not his direct descendant, I won't be able to tell. But it got 95% of the information actually correct, except for arguably some of the most vital Wikipedia entries. So how do we solve that? I've been reflecting a lot lately. I think the problem is that in the current way of deploying AI, right, by uh, by open AI or Stable Diffusion or Midjourney, all the data layer is from a centralized cloud computing platforms, and the training is done on the centralized layer as well, and also the inference, and that can really lead to some very undesirable passes, I think, for the humanity and also for the civilization, because we are not in the position to judge whether the information, the response from the prompt, is how accurate that is. This is difficult to this is very difficult to judge. So I think in the like but there is a hope. There is hope, because in the in the Internet Computer Protocol ecosystem, we believe our motto is blockchain singularity. We believe that the majority of the current web applications eventually will be running on a blockchain, because we see blockchain as the most viable path toward decentralization, total decentralization, which we believe is the only way to make sure we have data security and also data sovereignty. So the question is, what kind of improvements could we potentially see to tackle those challenges? I think one thing we can start thinking about as an industry as a whole is, how can we make sure all of us, each individual, we can at least access and also take ownership of the data for ourselves. That would be a good start. And then we can talk about training and inference later. Of course, it's not easy to get to the first step, because right now most of the data is on AWS servers or Google or Azure. So how do we make sure at least there's a way from the very much infrastructure level, we can allow individual users to have that data ownership. But that's something that Definitive Foundation and a lot of thousands of developers in our ecosystem have been working on in the last 2 years since we launched the ICP mainnet. We have seen a lot of very promising early signals from some of the most creative entrepreneurs in our ecosystem about how they figure out a way to allow individuals, content creators, or just everyday web users to lay claim to the data they create. But I mean, I don't want to go down to explain how we use a Canvas smart contract. But at least we see a path that this is actually possible. I think that will be a good start for the industry as a whole to make sure we as an individual or even as a business entity, we can claim that data ownership so that we can control the narrative, the key information that we want us to be remembered by, not just 10 years from now, but 100 years, if not 1,000 years from now, how we want the history to be written. But we need to start that effort now because very quickly it's going to become a very blurry line. Like what was a real version of the history? If ChatGPT says something didn't happen, then probably for all intents and purposes, the people, generations of people after us will agree with that because they have no other choice. So I think that's probably the first thing we need to figure out is to have that data ownership for all the individuals. But thanks, Frank.
Yeah, I totally agree with Herbert. Technology's developing very, very, very fast. Sometimes you can't even capture its pace already. And then I think the very, very first important step that we have to take is the ownership to trace the data, like you said, and then in order for us to control the narrative and these key information, to make this tech more as a decentralized tool for us. How about we can also listen to some insights from other speakers, Gabriel or Vicky?
Yeah, Frank. Thanks for that. And yeah, I think Herbert has some pretty valid points. I think like in terms of accuracy of information, how we can use decentralization to possibly combat that. I think it's quite a interesting question for me because the way that I see it, like AI in Web 2, right? A lot of it is centered around algorithms. And of course, I think in Web 2, probably the most well-known and the largest algorithm that has been running is by Google, right? And I think the problem with centralization for certain solutions is like, let's say, for Google, they claim to want to provide us with the best possible search results based off of what we're looking for on their search engine. But yet, I think probably 5 or 6 years ago, they got fined $2.4 billion or something for trying to manipulate the search results in their favor, right? So I think like having AI almost becoming like a sentient being, like hopefully it's not a real life case of the Terminator, but I think having a decentralized AI that we are able to have full transparency and to see like, okay, where is the data coming from? Like, are these results actually accurate, right? Like, and have a certain level of confidence that it's not being manipulated by any centralized source. I think that is one of the main benefits of having AI on a decentralized model. And of course, like to get there, there's going to be a bunch of different challenges. I think one of the ways that it can improve over time is obviously, I think, first of all, mass adoption of crypto in general. Like the more people start using blockchain on a day-to-day basis, the more information is going to be stored on the blockchain, right? And there's going to be a more transparent sources of information that's available, rather than, for example, Wikipedia. Like if you buy a contributor's account, you could change some of the information there, which may not be completely accurate. So I think like tying it in line with sort of like, for example, the soulbound token concept by Vitalik, how people can store their records, right? Whether it's like their birth certificate, their medical records, etc., and being able to control like what is publicly available. Like, if Herbert's grandfather had his birth certificate on chain, right, then probably the date wouldn't have been wrong. But because it was a piece of paper like 100 years ago and it's lost, and someone else probably put in the wrong date, like the AI is not able to verify it. So I think there are definitely several steps, but that's mainly my take on it, like from a transitional point of view from centralized to decentralized.
Maybe I'll just chime in with 2 points. I largely agree with all the prior speakers. I'll point out two areas that could potentially be interesting as well. One is just decentralized compute, because currently AI is facing a lot of bottlenecks in terms of computing power. That is something that I think the decentralized Web3 world can significantly contribute to it. And the other part of it is there's a potential possibility of a zk-ML system, and this is something that we've been thinking about internally a lot, and we're hearing a lot of the startups building in the AI space are thinking about a lot as well, because currently if you are any prompts going to OpenAI will essentially potentially be subject to further trainings, and data privacy and all these kind of stuff are very, very important, and on the top of everyone's mind right now. So to be able to have a privacy protected ML system, it is something that that industry is desperately needing.
So I feel like full transparency where like these data is coming from is just something, having an AI on a decentralized model is the first step that we have to take. Is there anything that you guys want to add on from Vicky or Philip?
I think there are already companies working on decentralized AI algorithm development. See, for instance, Singularity NET, the AGIX from Dr. Ben Gozel. The biggest improvement here will come from changing the incentive structure for AI engineers, such that the big paycheck don't just come from big tech companies. Blockchain for AI development can do for AI development what YouTube and creators influence did to Hollywood.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully, we can sooner or later we can get Herbert's grandfather's data correct, anytime soon. Yeah. So the integration of AI into Web3 presents, several technical challenges and obstacles, I believe. Hence to unleash the full potential of AI in Web3, we must first identify, the roadblocks impeding this convergence and find innovation solution to overcome them. So the next question that I want to bring up is how will AI change the direction of Web3 development? And from our guest's perspective, like what do you think the main entry point is for, AI and Web3 currently? Maybe you can hear from Philip.
Yeah, definitely. It seems really interesting because AI can kind of be leveraged by a lot of different stakeholders and types of users within crypto. So thinking about like throughout the entire like user flow, whether it's onboarding users or onboarding developers, there's a lot of use cases that can be applied to essentially make the onboarding experience more seamless. So thinking about something like for developers, in terms of getting custom chat boxes that can help you, answer any common questions when it comes to implementing new code into your systems, or getting familiar with maybe a new ecosystem when it comes to building across chains in crypto. There's a lot of different essential tools and resources that will accelerate your path towards really getting to kind of where you want to be, thinking about either being, in the gaming sector or the NFT sector, thinking about essentially ways to continue to do what you're doing in a more efficient way. I can think of a lot of exciting use cases, whether it comes to game development or even like getting your NFT art on chain. A lot of things that a lot of developers are currently doing that will help kind of assess some of the pain points that exist within crypto that are maybe hindering mainstream adoption. So I think as we continue to see further and further implementation of different AI tools across really all the different pillars of Web3, whether it's, gaming, NFTs, or DeFi, you'll continue to see more and more developers from Web2 and users from, just across all different sectors coming in and starting to have a more seamless onboarding flow, which will really bring mass adoption to be much more accelerated, in my opinion.
I do think this is also something that we can, because I feel like Web3 is still like a very new thing to Web2, a lot of Web2 users. So I think by bridging like AI and Web3 together, it's definitely something to migrate these Web2 users into Web3 for sure, for sure. Yeah. Can we also get some opinion from Herbert or Kaito, Yuhu, feel free.
Yeah, just gonna add to that point. So just in terms of how we think about AI plus Web3, obviously if we segment this into two different perspectives, there are things that AI is gonna massively help crypto. There are also things that crypto is gonna help with AI. So in terms of, I think on the last question, maybe I briefly touched on some of the stuff that crypto can be helping AI, right? So like decentralized compute, like zkML. I also add on maybe like token incentivizer, reinforcement learning from human feedback. These are things that can really leverage either crypto or tokenomics that can really help with sort of the AI development going forward. But there are also things that we are super excited about that we feel that AI can really help crypto. I think, and to build on what Philip said, AI can really help with a lot of the education, information sourcing, information querying, content distribution, fact check. A lot of these kind of stuff, AI we can very, very efficiently leverage AI to help with that, right? So I think part of what we do at Kaito is really to build a search engine that is powered by large language models to really help everyone to very, very efficiently query and access information, on the blockchain, around the blockchain. So that is a very exciting part of it. And I'll say that, the other part of it, which, I have, some part of me are thinking that this will eventually happen, but I think it is a moonshot and long shot as well. So as I'm a firm believer of AGI. So when, at a certain point, we're going to have AGI, and the AGI is going to help the world push the boundary of all the technologies that is currently developing, right? Either in the scientific field or in the crypto field. Crypto is a very, very new and nascent technology. There's so many, even at the infrastructure level, there's so many technologies still evolving. I dream of one day that AGI can really help push the boundary as well, to really push some of the infrastructure technologies that the entire Web3 communities are building towards.
So we get some main entry points from our speakers, to how we can work AI and Web3 together, and then the direction of how Web3 development will change with the technology of AI. So I want to also know that what role does AI play, in the scalability and efficiency of Web3 networks? Can we have Herbert?
Sure, Frank. Hey, Frank, can I just also just add something to the previous question about the direction?
Of course, yeah.
That,
The entry point, main entry point.
Yeah, the entry point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I think this is a really a great question. Just want to just really build on what other speakers have already shared. There's a couple of things. I think one is I think it's sort of a wake up call for the Web3 industry with the advent of AI and AIGC now that we really need to build a full stack of Web3 Web3 technology to in order to sort of counter the menace of AI in a way, because for the past 13 14 years, primarily in the Web3 industry, we do distributed ledgers, okay, which is a database, which is essentially a database. Says that okay, Mary owns this and Bob owns that. Okay, that's great. We've come very far into that down that path, but what we haven't really been able to bring to the mass market is how can we have also distributed computing and also distributed data storage. I think without the holistic full stack of ledger computing and data storage, it's going to be very difficult to contain the power of AI. I think that's something that at Web3 we can bring or we can influence the direction of AI development. And that's something that from Internet Computer Protocol, I think we are one of the few in the industry that is able to tackle all three. That's why a lot of friends actually sees ICP more as a decentralized version of AWS rather than just another layer one blockchain. So that's one. And then the other thing is about in terms of the direction. I think that is we just more specific for ICP. We're planning to actually bring AI to the smart contract on ICP in the next 18 to 24 months, so that we want to make that available, make it possible for developers to run large language models directly on the ICP network. So that takes pretty heavy engineering, some major advancement on our roadmap. But that's our plan. It's so it has changed. It has changed quite a bit in terms of how we charter our own trajectory, how we map out our roadmap in the coming years. And in the meanwhile, in our ecosystem, there's already a breed of new generation of AI-focused startups, such as one company called EMC, Edge Matrix Computing, that is trying to build a layer 2 network on the ICP mainnet, because they see an opportunity where they can use the GPU machines to run the AIGC applications, and that is not something our ICP mainnet, our nodes can be provided by our nodes machine yet. So there is an interesting a new kind of business model, I think, for the Web3 industries, where if something that cannot be handled by the layer 1, whether that is a rollup or ZK, maybe it can be handled some way by a new kind of layer 2 network, using some sort of optimistic way to run the AI applications. But then by the end of the day, all the assets, they will still be settled on the layer 1 network, creating a lot of synergies between the layer 1 and layer 2. So I think that's another new phenomenon to watch. And also just at a more tactical level, I think it does change a lot of teams, how they allocate resources. For example, another metaverse project team in the ICP ecosystem, they just went through a round of layoff to slim down the size of the team and let go some of the designers that used to work on the metaverse project. And that is unfortunate. But arguably, if we look at the long term, that's probably better for the team, so that they can focus more. They can focus more on how to design a good UX, UI flow to attract users, and handling some of the more mundane and the design part of the work to AI. So now there's a plethora of Wes Anderson movies on YouTube now that's done by thanks to AIGC, which is quite fascinating. So that's something that's going to be very hard to do by humans, but AIGC can handle that beautifully. So it is. It's a sobering lesson for all the aspiring entrepreneurs out there that where with limited capital, obviously, how do you want to focus? Where should you use the capital to the putting that to the best area that's gonna that's gonna change the trajectory of your business. I think a lot of this time last year, everyone was talking about metaverse, and it's not as trendy as it was. But if you look at is that going to happen again? It's really about, I think we have seen a lot of game developers that are just very obsessed with creating ultra realistic virtual world. To them, that's a lifelong passion and all that, but it's just a cautionary reminder that that may no longer be their should be their competitive advantage anymore. So there is I think a couple of ways I think the AI could influence the direction of Web3. Yeah. So Frank, should I continue with the next question, or maybe I can hand the mic to the next speaker and take a break.
Feel free. If you have any inputs on like the scalability and efficiency, for Web2 networks, we can just continue. You're sharing a lot of very impactful insights for sure.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Frank. So on the question about what role does AI play in the scalability and efficiency of Web3 networks, well, this is a big topic because I think Web3, we as a general as an industry, we haven't really done very well in terms of scalability. Right. When I say scalability, there are two ways to scale. One is to scale up. The other one is to scale out. I think in the Ethereum world, we have a lot of roll-up solutions that try to tackle the issue of scaling up. But in terms of horizontal scaling out, I think the jury is still out there. Like which way to go can achieve a good equilibrium or balance in terms of decentralization, efficiency, and all that. I think that is, and I think with the Internet Computer Protocol, we have a very unique technology stack to do that. But the AI. I think the AI is gonna change actually how we design our layer one network, how we design the configuration of the node machine that power the canister smart contracts running on the ICP. That is really it is still very early days. We are still, our founder Dominic Williams just talked about this last week in a podcast, in an interview, which is about how we're gonna reconfigure the network so that we can eventually run AI powered smart contracts. But that's gonna change a lot of things really, and so it is. But hopefully, it's. I think there is with the influence of AI, and a lot of the project teams in our industry, they can just stay better focused to really think about where they want to spend their time. And I think a lot more focus should be really on figuring out how to go to market, how to co-start your initial early adopter user base. Writing code is actually the easy piece. I'm a self-taught programmer, even though I didn't study computer science. Writing code is not the most difficult endeavor in this business. Some of the project teams in ICP, they have more than 30,000 lines of Rust code. And that is pretty much sort of the extreme version. But most of the teams, if you talk about Solidity contract or even canister smart contract, the difficult part is not in writing the code, but it's really about how to design a product that can resonate with your early users. and that how to design a attractive tokenomics model. So I think that's something that hopefully we can all, as an industry, as an ecosystem, stay more focused on, and start thinking, spending more time in those areas rather than just being obsessed with writing the code. That seems to be the easy part now. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Herbert. Thank you, thank you. I would also like to get some insights from Gabriel from Salad Ventures.
Hey Frank. Yeah, I mean, great insights from Herbert. And yeah, I think back to the question on how AI could change the um, well, could make a difference, right, in terms of the scalability and efficiency. I think some of the other speakers have already mentioned it. But I think overall, efficiency-wise, like, I think from a manpower perspective, like obviously AI can help the existing builders to perform better at their jobs. And then I think from a tech perspective, like probably AI can help to analyze data on a much larger scale, and being able to identify like certain loopholes maybe in terms of networks, and possibly like how to allocate resources more in order to make the networks more efficient. So I think that's a really quick take on this topic from me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so and so other than like the scalability and efficiency of Web3 networks, I think a lot of AI or tech based are connected to like developers, and then especially mentioned during the earlier conversation, when we first started the space, a speaker mentioned that it's gonna be like a chance for like entrepreneurs to to really have impactful stuff that they can build on. So I also want to know that how can developers and entrepreneurs like harness the power of AI, in building innovative Web3 applications and services. Can we have Vicky?
Hi, thank you. I think the power of AI and generating code has already been explained. And the other big solution will come from accelerating market research. We are already seeing AI summarizers incorporated in search engines like Brave, Bing, and Google Bard. One of the big strengths of these models is their ability to think in analogies. Um, they work by creating a map of human languages and finding words that are similar to each other. So here's an idea. Maybe take two great company or products that you love and
Ooh, I think there's a little bit of disconnection from Vicky. Are you still with us?
yeah. So did you hear me?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Clearly,
Yeah.
clearly.
So I think just yeah, take two great companies or products that you love and ask AI maybe to come up with some great ideas, great way to combine with them. I think that is yeah.
Okay. What about I want to also know from you who like how can developers and entrepreneurs use the power of AI to like build Web2 applications or like new services.
Yeah, so I think I think about this from two perspectives. One is if you're already a developer and entrepreneur in the space, um, you know, maybe I'll just share one conversation with all of you. So I went to Consensus in Texas Austin, and then some of the I was as a, actually I was very surprised by the number of conversations I had with developers in the space, trying to ask me, hey, can you index, for example, all the technical documents for Solana or some other layer ones, in the space, so that when I code, I can very easily query all the information. This is something that speaks to the power of a large language model that can very efficiently help people access information and query information in the space, right? So I'll strongly encourage everyone in the space to really at least be open-minded in terms of trying to leverage some of the efficiency tools to really help increase the productivity in the space. And it's something that we're striving to do as well. So for example, in the next iteration of the product, we'll be incorporating all the white papers, all the technical documents, obviously alongside with all the information across Twitter, Discord, Media Mirror, Telegram, all that kind of stuff, to really help people efficiently query information in the space. So that is number one. And I think from the other perspective, for developers and entrepreneurs that are currently not building in the space but looking for opportunities, I think the rise of large language model has really opened up doors to many new applications and services. So to really think creatively in terms of what kind of new opportunities and new demands are being created, and trying to tackle that market. So that will be the other perspective I'll bring.
Thank you. I want to really end this question with Herbert, because you mentioned that ICP has been onboarding a lot of new projects and Web3, yeah, from Web3. So yeah, how does this help these developers and entrepreneurs when they're trying to build on ICP?
Thank you, Frank. I think this is a great question. Let's try to bring this home. And so we see a future where the data should be owned by each individual, by each enterprise. We should have 100% power to dictate our own narrative, not by just the 5,000 editors from Wikipedia. So we need to do that, and then eventually we see where once we have the data ownership, the data should work for us. We should be able to monetize that data. And for example, if I have, say today I happen to be Exchange Square in Hong Kong, and if I want to share my location-based LBS data with Google or with Little Red Book or with whatever, somebody should pay me, because that data is valuable in its own right. And obviously, in collection, that helps to build the entire industry about LBS, about and all that. So eventually, the data that we control, that we own, that we create, they should be able to work for us in terms of we can lease that data to different platforms that want to harness the power of the data. So that is layer one. And layer two is about training. We probably haven't touched upon this topic too much, but the training is essential. It's about, as other speakers mentioned, it's about how to get a large language models in different vertical domains to work for us. So we see a future where it's probably personally, I think probably this is not going to be open sourced. It's unlikely that people want to open source, the language model they train. But it's probably viable for them to make this as a commercial into a commercial business, such as if you want my data, if you want, say, a Web3 industry specific large language model, you need to release that from our model. So that becomes so there will be a new generation of large language model providers that pays the individual for accessing the data, and then goes through the training modules, and hopefully some of those training, well, in the beginning, most likely they will happen off chain, still take place in the good old machines of blockchain. But eventually, some of that could be deployed, could be running on a blockchain as well. And that's And then eventually there will be, all the on top of these two layers, there'll be all these different SaaS applications, so whether to C or to B web applications that want to use those data to do different interference and provide all kinds of different like a summarized version through the cliff notes of different genre of knowledge. So that will be the three layers of how the data will flow in the end. And that I think that's going to open up a whole new world for the new generation of entrepreneurs. How do we get the data? How do we train the data? And how do we let the data work for us, rather than human trying to learn the language of the machine, which is now called prompt engineering. So that I think that's really a very powerful mission, for all of us. And I think that is that requires a total paradigm shift in terms of how we how do we make money, basically, in general. Is that because we see a future where the power issue ultimately goes to the individual, to all of us, and we are a long way to go to get there. So that's one on the very at a very high level. I think more specifically in terms of verticals, I think there is I think entertainment and content creation vertical is going to be particularly interesting for the aspiring entrepreneurs and developers, just because of the sheer power of AIGC that has just been unleashed. I mean, I was joking around just now with Wes Anderson movies. It's because of his distinctive direct style. It has become a bit of I think, because of a meme on its own on the internet, right? How can AI make a Wes Anderson movie? It's that really showcases, really, I think, the power of AI, of stable diffusions and Midjourney and all that. I think I think that really broadened the horizon of what entrepreneurs in the entertainment and art industry, to some extent gaming and metaverse as well, can possibly do. It's really, I think the boundary is really pretty far and far-reaching, because ultimately this all boils down to what we as a species, what do? We do storytelling. We want to tell good stories. We want to write history, and history is another form of storytelling. And AIGC has given us the power to tell really interesting stories. And some of that is the truths where we call history, and some of that, it could be just pure entertainment, and that can be very, very groundbreaking. For example, with a canister smart contract from ICP, which is without getting too technical, which is really a form of actor program, where each canister, for example, it could be clear. It could be Alexander the Great. It could be, and you can actually dump the entire history or entire biography of Alexander the Great into one canister, so that this canister basically can speak and behave like Alexander the Great. Or, well, in another industry, we call that digital twin. That's essentially what this is. This is a manifestation of digital twin. Once we have that, this is going to be interesting, because Alexander Great now is alive in the form of a canister smart contract, which has its own set of APIs, so that he can interact with other great warriors and the great kings of that time. We can actually recreate the historical dialogues between them. And just imagine what kind of possible, interesting, and fascinating use cases that's going to generate. I think AI can, among many things, there's one thing AI can do really, really well, much better than humans. That is to scan through. That is really to scan through. For example, let's say there is what happened in year 1082. March 7th. Okay, it's more than 1,000 years ago. What happened on that particular day in the history? AI is very good at reading all the historical archives, all the documents, like all the diaries that still persist to this day about what happened on that particular date. That is obviously beyond the power of any individual. But ChatGPT can do that. And once it does that, I think the possibilities will be unlimited. And then we can reconstruct history as we know it. And that's going to be the version that's going to persist for many generations. So I think I don't know if there's one word that can pigeonhole or to define this new genre. It's really, I think, to me, it's really paradigm shifting moment. But hopefully, a lot of entrepreneurs will share the same vision, and that's at least a lot of us in Divinity Foundation and ICP we are aspiring to do in the coming decades, if not much longer. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Herbert. You sort of spoiled a little bit for my next question because as we're coming to the end of this space, I was planning to surprise everyone with an interesting question. This question might need to take a minute for all the speakers to brainstorm a little bit, but feel free to jump on when you have the answer. So just in one word, how would you define Web3 and AI in 2023 and moving forward? I'm gonna hand over the torch to Philip. Maybe we can kickstart with you with this one word.
I'll go with disruptive.
Any other speakers? You can just directly hop on if you have this one word, and then maybe explain a little bit why you're choosing this word for your summarization.
I'll go next. I'll go Kaito. No, sorry, I'm kidding. No, I think it'll be exciting. It's really exciting. It's something that's brand new to every one of us, and it's something that we should be nurturing together.
Any word from Vicky, Gabriel, or Herbert?
Yeah, Frank. I think for me, it's more of opportunity. Probably that's the main word. And yeah, I think there's just going to be a lot more opportunity for everyone in general, not only the users, but also like the builders as well.
Opportunity. Thank you. Vicky or Herbert?
I think for me, it'll be surprising because I'm just looking forward to for any possibilities and like creativities for the surprise.
Yes, definitely a lot of surprises coming with the AI and Web3. And lastly, Herbert, your one word.
I will go with discovery. Why is that? Recently Stephen Wolfram just wrote an excellent book. What is ChatGPT? Highly recommended. He was also on the podcast of Lex Freeman. I cannot imagine a better person to explain what is AI other than the great Stephen Wolfram, the creator of Mathematica, and also Wolfram. Well, he's the young. I think he still holds a record of being the youngest recipient of MacArthur Award. So he's well in this book, which I think is easily available on internet. He actually said that the advent of ChatGPT is a scientific discovery. We didn't realize. I don't think Sam Altman or they realized 7 years ago when they started this whole endeavor of OpenAI. I don't think they necessarily saw this coming. They didn't realize that this can be done in this. We can achieve actually this much that is sort of we always felt that the human brains works in a very mystical fashion and all that. It's almost impossible. It's going to take another, I don't know, a few decades for the machine to catch up with man. But but we're a little bit of we quite underestimated the power of machine there. So it's really a discovery. It's a discovery moment for mankind, for the technology developers, and I think that is that one word has a lot of obviously has as opportunities, as other speakers mentioned. It's there are surprises, as Vicky mentioned, but it's also it's exciting. I think so sorry. I'm also trying to cue my every other fellow speakers here. It's also exciting because it's a discovery. It's a scientific breakthrough. I don't think we necessarily saw this coming. We didn't know this can be in a very brute force fashion. It can be done. So it's the discovery obviously still continues, still very early days, but it's something that I think all of us we are very much looking forward to see what this whole discovery can bring to us. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you for all these amazing keywords from for Web3 and AI. Moving forward for 2023 and onwards. So disruptive, exciting, opportunity, surprising, and discovery. These are the 5 words that our speakers mentioned to us. I really appreciate the insights and perspectives from our speakers today. I personally have learned a lot too. So thank you, everyone, for your time today, with sharing your perspectives for AI and Web3 in 2023. I hope you all had a great time too today with Panony Presents. Thank you once again. And if you enjoy this space and want to hear more about Web3, Metaverse, NFTs from different visionaries, please follow us on Panony Group on Twitter to keep up with our future Twitter spaces. Also, very big shout out to our incredible guest speakers today, and follow them on their socials. Please feel free to follow Definity, Pilenex, Say Network, Salad Ventures, and Kaito AI for more updates of their product in the future. Thank you once again for everyone tuning in and for the guest speakers and their insights. Also, a quick reminder, if audiences, members miss anything or any part of the space and want to listen again, they can listen to the recording, which will be posted onto our account. We'll see everyone next time here at Panony Presents. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Panoni. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.